We're just excited about all the program success.
And we're ready to get started. Thanks, Zach. Go Cards.
For Wheeling University Athletics, I'm Zach Ziegler. It's time for another edition of the Mike Geibel Show. Currently joined by Wheeling University head men's rugby coach Mike Geibel. And Mike, you kicked off the Sevens season 2 weeks ago with your first action. Talk about that first tournament out and kind of what it was like to get out there.
It was great to get back into a Sevens tournament again. Coming off of obviously the Natty last year for Sevens. We hadn't played Sevens at all since then. So, it's good to get back out there, get into a tournament environment, see some of the teams that we're going to see, and ultimately come out with the win.
And you guys take that tournament title, winning all 5 games in the tournament. Talk about what that was like for your team's confidence to get those first 5 wins.
It's huge. Those were some really good teams that we played and some teams that we're definitely going to see later at other tournaments and possibly even CRCs. So, it's good to get that out of the way. It's the 3rd year in a row that we've qualified that weekend. The previous 2 years were at the Terrapin Sevens, but then this one was Peach Cup Sevens. But it's good to get to that first tournament, get the qualifier out of the way, know that we're booked for CRCs, and then the rest of the season is just kind of perfecting things and finding the combinations that we need to win another championship.
And one of the guys who really continued his success from Sevens was Shadrick Mendoza, your leader on both sides, team leader in tries and conversions. Talk about what makes him so strong in Sevens.
He's just incredibly explosive. He's so hard to tackle because he's so fast. If you give him even a foot of space, he can find a gap, and he can just shoot through the gap, and then he's away, and he has the pace to outrun anyone.
And a lot of guys contributing in that game. You had a bunch of different try scorers. Having so many options to go to, what's that like for you as a head coach?
It's great. We as long as we can keep the depth that we need and keep everybody healthy, then we can make another good run at a championship. And part of that is just having so many options in all these different positions that if somebody's tired from a previous match where they had a lot of work or a lot of tackles or a lot of long runs, we have somebody waiting who can fill that position and do it at the same level that they're starting from. So just being able to have such a consistent team that is so consistently strong is something that helps us, and it makes it really easy to coach.
Currently joined by Wheeling University head men's rugby coach Mike Geibel. And Mike, before we get into this weekend's tournament, some professional news for you. You're taking over the student activities department here at Wheeling. Talk about the move and kind of your excitement for it.
Yeah, I'm excited to get the interim dean of students title. It's something that I feel like I can do a lot of help and I've been called to serve the university and get through the year. It's only an interim title now, so we're just getting through graduation, and then we're going to see the job will be posted and everything later. But even in the next 2 months, I think there's a lot that I can do to really help the students and really help the university. And so it was a no-brainer for me when they asked me if I wanted to do it. I told them I still want to coach, so I could do both. And I have 2 offices now, so I split time between them. But it's something that is really great for myself, and hopefully it'll be great for the university.
And you guys have your big tournament coming up this weekend, bringing Sevens rugby back for the first time since 2022, I believe, in the Nail City Sevens. Talk about this tournament coming up and what it means for you guys to be able to host.
It's great. It's something that we've wanted to do. Hosting a tournament is a really cool experience. We want the guys to have a home tournament so that they can play at home in front of the home crowd during Sevens season. We don't always get to do that just because of all the qualifiers and having to travel around all the tournaments. But more than that, we want this to become a qualifier in the next year, 2 years, whatever it may be. So just starting it now, getting some really good teams to come to this tournament, and then building it up in the future is just going to make it a bigger tournament, a better tournament. We're in such a good location, centrally located to a lot of teams, that it's easy for them to get to us, and they don't have to travel across the country to go to a qualifier. So that's what we're hoping for in the future.
And you mentioned a lot of tough competition coming. You have 14 different teams across 2 brackets. Talk about the competition you're going to face and kind of some of the teams we're going to see.
Sure. We have big name teams, big Division I football schools. Notre Dame's coming, Marion's coming, St. Bonaventure's coming, Virginia Tech's sending a team in. We have some smaller schools, D3 in rugby. Geneva College is coming, Franciscan, Fredonia out of New York, Slippery Rock, the D3 national champions. They're going to come down and put in a team to the tournament. So, really getting across both brackets, getting some really good competition at this tournament, and a real good look, even though it is smaller than some of the big 32-team qualifiers like Notre Dame, next week. it's one of those things where we're going to have teams here that are going to compete at the higher levels. They're going to be at CRCs. They're going to be at these big qualifier tournaments. So starting there and building from there is it's great for us. It's great experience. It's great for all these teams to get here and get matches under their belt.
And finally, with your place in the CRC 7s already locked down, talk about your goals for the rest of the season as you go through these final couple tournaments getting ready for the end of April.
Right. I think we really would just want to find those combinations of guys that work well together and can play well together on the pitch. We want to obviously pare down our roster to get to what we're allowed to for CRCs. So we have some guys getting minutes this weekend that we're getting a look at. Then next weekend at Notre Dame, we're taking 2 teams as well. So we're really getting guys an opportunity to make the CRC squad. And we're just trying to compete and get those things right, those little details, get them correct so that once we get to CRCs, we're peaking and everything's working how it should, and then we can make a run at another title.
Thanks, Mike. Good luck this week. Can't wait to see you out there.
Thank you.
For Wheeling University Athletics, I'm Zach Ziegler.
We're just excited about all the program success.
And we're ready to get started. Thanks, Zach. Go Cards.